Hey,
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. Welcome everybody back to episode 55. I think it's 55
Yeah,
of
maybe.
Emmerich.
Bring this back.
Yeah, it's been a couple of weeks. It's been rough. We decided to try something different, and the big studios decided to fuck with us. So we're retooling to see what's going to happen with it came back from the video store. So figure it out. But in the meantime, first things, most important things, buy your shit.
Yes, of course.
That's the link. You can get video store merch. You can get warm takes merch. You can get the merch. You can get them on a t-shirt. You can get them on a phone. You can get them on a cup. Or in these trying COVID-19 times, you can get it on a mask. Today's episode, though, is a special episode of the Video Store Reacts. You guys have seen some of our stuff when we usually watch alpha production things here in the back, yeah?
Yeah.
But we got a very special thing for you today. We got an interview with a very, very special visionary director of these films. He might be a legend, he might not. We don't know yet. So, legend? You decide. Mr. Christopher Day.
What's
How you
up? How's
doing,
it?
man?
I'm good.
How you doing, sir?
I'm good. How are you? It's been a long time. How are you guys?
Good.
Almost woken up too because, apparently that's the thing.
Yeah, it's snowing right now too. That says anything about fall weather.
We don't have snow here. We have bugs. I might trade you.
I'm in Nebraska.
So, people have been having some doubts, some questions about where you come from, how you do your thing, and that's what we're here for today. Let's see what happens. Mike,
Let's
start
do
it
it.
off, Mike.
Question 1 for Mr. Day, man. Your
All right.
films have won multiple awards. What would
Yes.
you consider is your favorite?
My favorite film I've done.
Yeah.
I would say out of all the films I've done, because if you count how many films I've done, I don't count that much. I would say the one I'm just about to release, Brother, might be the most proud of. It is a heartbreaking, story that comes from a real tragedy, and that's that. When my brother passed, it was a very tragic thing. So yeah, I would say Brother, because I felt the most myself making a film, even though it's a tragic thing. I've felt the most me making that film, so I would say that.
I have not seen that one yet. I think you send us a copy, but we're probably going to do another episode watching that one.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out.
Good shit.
There is music in it, but I don't think it should be copyright, so I think you'll be fine.
I have some issues with copyright too, so I get it.
Yeah.
Next question.
Okay. Question 2. You graduated from the LA Film School online program, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
For the people out there, how much was your tuition for that? For the people who want to go, how much did you end up paying?
It's expensive. I did because of, part of it was my disability. They paid for some of that, and then I had to literally work my ass off. So about 20 grand, something like that. It's expensive.
And, okay. Do you remember what the name of the program was that you actually did?
It was the filmmaking program. As far as I know, I think that's what they call it. There's so many you can do.
You're really breaking up on my end.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, you're breaking up a lot.
Yeah, it does that. Filmmaking program was really the one I did. There was all these other ones too, like acting and criticism and stuff like that. But I just did the filmmaking program.
Filmmaking, okay. And when you did the filmmaking program, were you sent anything, or were you just off to your own devices?
I had to basically, no, so they never sent me anything. I had to work with what I had, which was a Canon camera, which I've just recently upgraded to. The funny thing about having an iPhone now is, many people have made a film on an iPhone. I mean, you look at the Florida Project. I
I
mean, that
think
was
Soderbergh likes to do a lot of things on the iPhone.
yeah. See, and I made a lot of my phones with an iPhone, so making a film with an iPhone to me is as long as you got the right people to help you, and they have techniques to have film like basically a hand like a stand or whatever to do that and to make it like a film. That's mostly what I did.
I do have a question about that because in some of your films, you make the switch from widescreen to vertical.
Yeah, yeah,
Is
yeah.
that on purpose or is that like a mistake?
I don't know why I did it. I don't know. It just kind of randomly happened, and sometimes when I'm editing, I don't know why I don't realize that. And I really wish I would realize that because, to be honest, I've made films and I've made films almost 10 years. 14 was when I did it professionally with Playboy, which, but you make mistakes and you try to do better from it, and for sure that vertical and I just I can't vertically shoot a film anymore. Like it's too what's the
Feels
cringy.
weird. It's not
Yeah,
like it's wavy, you know.
no, I can't do it. Like I have to have it a certain way. And when I did the target, and this is a true story.
We lost the audio, man.
Can't hear you.
Oh shit! Can you hear me now or no?
Yes.
Um, when I shot the target, my friend was doing vertical, which I didn't realize as before I went to film school. That was terrible to do that. So I understand, and I wish I could have done a lot better with that with some of my earlier films for sure.
See, I thought it was kind of an artistic choice because it figured to me like you want to focus on something particularly. But then I don't remember which one. It was one of the. What is the character of the action name? Jack.
Jack Cross. Yep.
It was one of the Jack Cross, I think, that you like switch to vertical and focus on a hammer. And I told Mike, I think that hammer is going to be important. I think that's going to be something significant because he's focusing on that particularly. And the hammer never came back.
Yeah.
So that was weird.
My editing was so bad back then. It was so terrible, and I wish I could have been a lot better. Not just editing, but filmmaking, because I've learned a lot since then. So it's all. I tell people all the time, it's for sure a learning experience making a film, and I still think to this day, even if you're making short films, it's still a learning experience, and you will improve over time.
Fair.
Now, going back to the film school for have you paid it off, or are you still accruing?
No, I'm still paying it off. I'm not complete, but I'm almost there. But I'm still paying it off. Working 3 jobs and having stepkids, and obviously getting married next year, which is I'm excited for. That's great. That's part of what being a dad is crazy. You got to pay for everything with them and get them taken care of. So no, I haven't been able to pay it all off, but I'm slowly working for that.
Okay, and through you being sent, you using your own equipment, I've had buddies that have done the filmmaking program on the LA Film School. They've done online and actually in person, and they were actually sent the equipment, and they are actually sent.
They never did for me, and I don't know why they didn't, but they never did for me.
Interesting. Okay, and okay, so you said you graduated from that. How long was the program for you to graduate?
For me, it was about 1 to 2 years.
1, 2 years. Okay. Kind of confused on that, mainly because at that point I was still following you on Facebook, and you had said that you had started going to film school in like January, I think it was, and then in like September you said that you were graduating.
2019, yeah.
But then you said in like September you were graduating, so it's only like 9 months. That's why I got confused. And if you started in 2019, how is it 2 years when it's 2020?
It was December when I graduated last year.
So that's only 1 year, though. You said 2 years.
I said 1 to 2 years, yeah.
How is
So
that even close to 2
is,
years?
is it like a license thing, or is maybe like a doctorate, or what is it?
I mean, I don't know. I don't really, part of what I honestly, and this is, I did graduate, but in a way, I wish I could have done more for sure. I wish I could have, you know, done more time because I didn't really focus on my studies as much as well. So, I wish I could have done more. I just wanted to make the movies. A lot of people say that they don't need film school because film school doesn't really. I mean, Tarantino, he has said it, for sure. So, um, I really, really, really wish I could have done a lot more because I felt like I didn't, for sure.
Now, so you spent upwards of then 4 semesters there?
Yes, 4
Yeah.
semesters.
Okay.
Yep.
The thing is, though, that 1 semester is like a 6-month program there.
Okay.
So how did you spend 4?
Well, part of what I was telling people, because the truth's coming out, I didn't graduate because I didn't want people to look at me the wrong way because I didn't graduate because I'm still paying it off and it was a lot, and my brother died, and so I kind of had to take a step back, and so I went and finished on just basically learning for myself. So I didn't want people to think of me as a quitter and as a loser because I didn't finish.
Listen, man. I'll say this: I've known you for quite a while, man.
Yeah.
The best thing to do, no matter what, man, is don't ever lie about something like that, man. Just say the truth. No one's gonna see you as somebody like different or bad because you didn't graduate something. Just say the truth. Just say,
Yeah.
hey, something came up, I couldn't finish it. By saying that you graduated, you're basically you're literally lying, and you're coming off as something that
And it's
you
so hard
have
when
that.
you're so used to it too, like I have been. So and it's really hard sometimes, but I am trying a lot better for sure.
Okay. Yeah, fair.
Did you learn anything from that incomplete course that you use today in your films?
What's up? I got half of that.
I said, did you learn anything of like important value for filmmaking during that incomplete course, or you just like
Yeah, I mean, I
winging it?
learned a lot. I learned a lot about tracking shots, and I learned a lot about, basically, I've learned, you can see with some of my recent films, from a couple of years ago to now, Jack Ross, for instance, I've learned a lot of, doing a film because, even though the courses I've done and everything I've done, I've still learned a lot from it. And I'm very grateful for film school because I've learned a lot more as a director. I learned how to do the technique more. I'm still learning every single day by just studying and watching films and seeing the shots, and that's just something for me to learn and to be better, which is a hard thing to do because I, for one, want to be great. And this is a dream of mine. This was a brother's dream of mine as well. Unfortunately, he doesn't get to live that. So for me, um, I understand when people go, hey, he's not taking this as serious as he should. He should do more. And I listen to what people say and I try to do better. I wish I could have listened to more people back a couple years ago. Me and Mike had a argument about that too. I mean, I wish I could have a couple years ago. I wish I could have listened to more people, and instead of just being defensive and saying, "Hey, you should appreciate my film," even though it's not what I want it to be, for sure.
Sure. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so from when I was following you to, I haven't looked on it recently because I don't follow you on Facebook anymore or Instagram. But I remember you having like some upwards of like 20 to 30 shoot days sometimes in a row for your films. Where you
Yeah.
go, okay.
Well, when with work and everything, and life, it's hard to. I can only do a certain amount of hours, and it's depending on the people who I want to be in my film. They can't really do a lot of days, so you got to move it around as much as you can. So if I'm not filming, I'm either writing or I'm either editing the scene itself. But
No, but I
I
mean,
go.
no, what I mean by that is you've stated when I was following you on Facebook that you were on set like 20 days sometimes in a row. Now, my question to you with that is that most of your films are like under, usually about 5 minutes, 6 minutes. Fair? Gonna be fair on that?
Yes, a
Like
lot
5,
of
6.
them are.
Okay,
Yeah.
so my question is, 20 days of shoot days. What are you doing for those 20 days for a 5-minute film? Because most 5-minute
Well,
films usually takes place usually a weekend, maybe 2 weeks. Like if you have that, so you're there 20 days in a row. I'm just curious, what are you doing for those
see,
20 days?
and for me, when I was shooting Batman before it was canceled, the first one, before it was canceled, that film was going to be about 25, 30 minutes. And that took almost half of a month because you have to get everything perfect. But when I do a film, say Jack Cross or something, I, of course, want to make people think, hey, I don't know why back then I was thinking, hey, I'm on a set. This is cool because it wasn't really cool. I was just working on a movie I care about, which I wish I could have been a lot more honest. We've talked about this. Now it's, there's certain when I'm editing a film, like Brother, I'm constantly still even to this day. I mean, this is the final print, and I was still wanting to add more because I'm trying to do more. I mean, Fallen Soldiers, which I just did, um, that took me a good editing wise 2 weeks because I had to gather all the pictures, I had to gather the footage, I wanted to shoot it kind of in a documentary style of the experience of a PTSD, which is really serious. My father has gone through it. I have a family who has gone through it. So I've had all this pressure when I'm as an actor, also a director, saying, "Hey, I have these days or whatever to kind of get people to be inspired." I wish I could be more honest, for sure. Um, but my support itself, that I have people who are in the film or who are helping me with the film, which are maybe 5 to 6 people.
The audio is low
Oh,
again.
yeah, the audio is low.
See if I can turn it up a little bit. Can you hear me better?
Yes.
Okay. So I don't know why it's doing that. So when I have certain like 5 or 6 people working with me, I try to, I don't, and I kind of, I don't do that a lot more than I used to, on Instagram now because I like to just make the film. I don't really like, vlogging it unless it's an important announcement, say for Batman. I just don't like doing it anymore because it's not honest to the people, and it kind of makes me feel like a jackass, and I hate that for sure.
So
Speaking of
realistically,
soldiers,
how many
though,
days? Oh,
I,
go
I
ahead.
have a question. I have a question about something he mentioned. He mentioned that you said you edited and re-edited several cuts of Fallen Soldiers,
Yes.
but yet you never fixed the spelling. So is the
No,
title
I'm so
on
bad with fucking.
purpose?
Yeah.
Is that on purpose or because you seem to double down on it? Like every time you get a chance to mention the movie, you still didn't spell it.
My spelling is so fucking terrible that I don't even realize half the time when I'm editing that I made a fucking error. Like, I don't know what's wrong with my brain on that part. I just can't fucking realize that I have bad spelling errors. I've looked at, like, I watched the movie. I watched, I spent some time with my family. My birthday's on Sunday. So I spent some time with my family yesterday, who I don't really get to see much. We were watching Dangerous Days. And or it was Dangerous Days and Fallen Soldiers, and my mom kept saying, "Why am I so bad at making spelling errors?" And I really just I wish I could. I need to start paying more attention to it because I clearly don't know how to spell right in my movies.
Well, okay, with that, why don't you just take it off and fix the spelling and then upload it again? Since you know
I'm gonna
about
do
it,
that
why?
too. And then, like the last time with Fallen Soldiers, it took almost a half hour because of my data on my phone. I'm doing iMovie on my phone, so a lot of the editing I do is on my phone. I don't have a computer right now. Um, so and I used Power Director for a while, but now that I'm actually doing iMovie with an iPhone, it's been so, I like to say, I've never used Final Cut Pro. I know a lot of people talk great about that. Mike, I don't know if you do Final Cut Pro or not.
Yeah.
Um, I'd like to try that. I maybe if I get a computer someday I will. I like iMovie. iMovie for me, either if it's on a computer or if it's on a phone, it's just simple for me. But yet autocorrect is a bitch, and I don't realize when I want to edit a film that I should do that, and then when it's too late, I basically kind of want to give up, and then I'm like, what's wrong with me? So
I have seen another thing that happens when you use Power Editor. Sometimes you use the free version, and then sometimes you use another pass on the free version with the exported from the free version, and you get like multiplying logos in the corner. That's kind of a weird effect. It's a little distracting, to be honest.
I'd never.
Is that on purpose, or is just like you don't feel like paying them?
I don't feel like paying them. I don't realize it half of the time, but I realized that recently when I watched another one of my films. I'm like, why the fuck did I do that? I feel like a dumbass every time that happens.
I actually assume you were like going into the Dogma 95 shit. Like, I'm gonna just use the resources I get with spending no money. That would have been a daring choice, but it's not.
It's not. No.
So going back to the shoot days, realistically, how many days does your average like short film
On
take
each
to
film?
film?
Well, Batman was about 20.
No, I'm not talking about. I mean the ones you released, like the ones you
The one
actually
I
released.
released. Well, hopefully, we're working on. I just got injured too, so I'm just literally getting off of an injury, which is because I'm doing Daredevil, and that was really hard. But some of my films, Jack Cross, it depends. You see, The Last Stand for Jack Cross was about a 2-weekend thing, so about 6 to 7 days, because there's not a lot with Jack Cross. It's really, really slow. But the fight and the target was about a week because I had to choreograph and then we kept fucking it up. So for sure, it's just certain scenes. The movie, however, altogether, say Brother was about 2 weeks because that final, when you see the final showdown in the end, for those who I'm not going to give it away, we literally rehearsed that for a week because I didn't want to shoot anything. And I didn't want to make it right unless this was great because, I really wish I could go back with the target and I could redo that fight scene because that fight scene was so bad. And even with my 4K edit, which I did, editing out some stuff, it's so bad and it's so choppy and it's so ugly. I really, really wish I could go back and just spend a week, breaking down. I like to break as a director, with some stuff like some certain scenes. Say the final fight scene in the Last Stand, when he gets pummeled by my buddy Cy Hawk, who is actually my roommate next door. I spend literally amount of time like 3 days just breaking that down because I don't like making errors, and even though I try not to do as much as that anymore, it's still a learning experience, and I like to sit down and I want to, for me, it's basically like you're going to a rehearsal. I have to see this right, and I want this to be right, and if it's not, we're going to sit down and talk for a good while so we can try to get this right. And maybe that's the weirdness in me, or maybe that's the ADHD in me to try to make it better now. I really wish I could go back, but for me, say we're talking about certain films that have been done in a few days. I'm shooting this miniseries for Dangerous Days. Dangerous Days, the film I did, that was a good 2 days. That was a 2-day shoot. So it just depends. With Daredevil, when I injured my knee and I almost tore it in half. Actually, when I was boxing, trying to learn, more fight choreography, and I fell on it. And so basically what happened was I basically told everybody I need a break, and I basically took a few months to rewrite the script because the script was a mess and I wanted to make it great, but I felt like I wasn't proud of it, and I'm still not. Really wish I could do some more. I'm trying. It's hard when you're adapting something as a fan film. It's really hard to make it an original film, and I'm still working on it. But I really wish, and obviously I think we'll talk about it soon. I really wish I could stop just saying, "Hey, I'm going to make a film," and not do it because it's so hard to adapt right now. I'm doing, I just announced it recently. I'm doing this kind of Kennedy Nixon. That's the kind of adaptations I like to do. But I really want to do Batman, and I've really been pushing to do Batman. But if Batman or Daredevil doesn't work, It's just
But
it's hard
what
to
happened to the Batman film? You said you filmed like 25 days. What happened to that? Why was it canceled?
because I didn't have enough money to finish. I put some money into it. I got to buy costumes. I got to pay my actors, which I try to pay all my actors, which is hard. I'm doing that now. I pay every single actor like $20 to $40 just to be in the movie, and they're very appreciative. Which I wish I could pay more. I really, really do. I tried talking to some like actors who are my friends who are basically working as actors. One of my good friends is Jonathan Hart, who is a working actor since 2005, and he's got to have a certain amount of pay grade. So I really, really wish, but for me, Batman, it was just everything was going wrong, and I did not feel proud, and I wanted to do it the way I wanted to. I had other people who were helping me as producers, who liked the project that I did, but they kept taking over. I couldn't just watch this. I couldn't just say, hey, why can't you let me see my vision? Because they kept saying, I don't like that idea. We're going to scrap that. And I basically told them, I said, look, I'm not going to do this. I'm not proud of this. I don't like the content I'm making. Can you please just like let me do it the way I want to see it, or just get the fuck out of my way? And I basically told them to fuck off, and I made Fallen Soldiers instead.
Okay, so talking a little bit about professionally, you say that you're a full-time filmmaker.
I tried to be.
Who's paying you for the films?
I'm paying myself. I'm literally working, and then when I want to like put money into my movies, I will. I try to put about 500 to 1,000 whenever I make as much as I do. Farmhand, which I am doing right now. I'm working as the farmhand. I just finished harvesting.
Okay, so you're not technically a full-time filmmaker. You do have other jobs.
I'm just working basically on it's kind of what freelance, would you say? Freelance? Yeah, kind of freelance.
Freelance would be somebody paying you, not you paying yourself.
Oh, okay. See, I'm paying myself.
Like you paying yourself. Yeah, you're not like that's that's what I think is like some confusion here. Is that on Facebook and stuff like that? You're saying I see on your thing you say full-time filmmaker, but that means that you would be doing it professionally. That somebody would be paying you.
I'm just going to change that to filmmaker, to be honest, because
I would suggest doing that so there's no confusion there.
Yeah, I know. But I love it.
People about Legacy. I have a question about Legacy.
Oh, the boxing movie, the little Rocky inspired film. Yeah.
When you decided to shoot the final fight in a hallway instead of a ring, was the sign on the door that says boiler room already there, or did you put it there?
No, I didn't realize it was there.
Because that has been kind of a big hit, and a lot of people love that boiler room sign. So much more that we decided to help people by making a shirt. I took a screenshot and I put it in a shirt. Yes. And 2 people have bought it so far. I don't know how many will, but I respect the choice because we all honestly assume that you identify the door as a boiler room.
Send me the link to that. I'm gonna buy that shirt.
Yes. Yeah. I will do that.
Oh shit. Now
boiler room shirt.
Okay, so talking about Legacy here, and talking about how you're paying your actors, you're saying that you put in $500 to $1,000 into your films. Where is the money going?
What did I say? When did
you said that you put about $500 to $1,000 into some of your films. Where is that money actually going? Because you don't pay for editing, you're paying $40 for an actor.
That was a lie. When was that?
Literally like 10 seconds ago, my dude. You literally just said it like. You literally just said it like 15 seconds ago, man.
I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about Legacy because I put no money into that.
No, I'm talking about any of your films. Like
no, I mean, I think the Legacy. I think the Legacy. No, we can tell because there is a scene where a fighter wraps his hands in like toilet paper or like towel paper. I don't know. I think you were trying to sell. It was like a wrapping.
Yeah, I know. I put my money basically in trying to get better equipment. That is what I basically put my money in. I don't use an editing system right now. That's not free. iMovie, technically, I'm going to start paying for that. If it needs me to, I will. But I just try to get better equipment.
So
That's
you're saying
basically
the money you're talking about is for your newer movies, not the movies you've actually done.
No, it's for my newer ones.
So your older ones you put no money basically. It's like no
Oh,
iPhones
budget.
are expensive, Mike. You know,
Hell.
iPhone is really expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, hell no. That was made on a fucking shitty ass Android phone. That I was thinking, hey, I can do this. I can do this. I mean, Playboy was made on a school fucking laptop, which I don't know why the fuck I did that when I was 16 years old. I mean,
Now, speaking of Playboy, I'm not gonna go like it's been talked about enough to where we don't need to go into details of that. But
there's
the
been
one
so
thing
many.
you
That's
just
all I've
today
ever
is that
talked about. People still
you
talk to me.
started doing it professionally with Playboy, but doing it professionally means that you're being paid for your work.
Yeah.
Have you been paid for your work?
No.
Okay, so you're not doing it professionally. You're doing it as a side gig, like as a hobby, basically, until you get paid.
Basically, I'm saying I'm taking it more as a serious.
So are you releasing your movies on like straight up YouTube, right?
I put them on Vimeo too, because some of them will not, like I did the Fear Blood 4K cut, the final cut on Vimeo, which I will send to you, because I put a lot of edited copyright music in those. Some of it will be, if YouTube will not let me do it, I will put it on Vimeo, and I can, because they have no copyright problems. So
You mean Vimeo?
Vimeo, yeah.
Now, speaking of the 4K things, I've watched one of the ones that are 4. It's not actually uploaded in 4K though. It's uploaded in 1080.
Is it not? How do you do that? Because when iMovie tells me I can upload it in 4K, I'm thinking it's 4K.
Oh no, you gotta actually edit it in you can do a transfer in 4K, but it's not uploaded on YouTube in 4K. Like if you're just when you can't just go to YouTube and go, hey, I want to do it in 4K, and it'll upload it in 4K for you.
If the source file is not 4K,
Yeah.
it will never be 4K. It's like
and YouTube won't allow
on my
that.
phone. Like I can film something on my shitty Android phone and then I put it on YouTube and ask it to make it 4K, and it really doesn't do anything. It needs to be original source in 4K for it to work.
YouTube doesn't do that, do they?
No, it's not. YouTube isn't the original source. When we're talking about the original source, we're talking about the original.
They do not upscale. If that's what you're.
Yeah, you need to have the original file upscaled before you put it on there.
Okay. All right.
So I would say probably take those down or change the subheading, because I've been seeing even comments going like this isn't 4K. Like it's confusing some people when you say it's in 4K and it's not.
And I doubt very much that any free editing software will export in 4K, because I do some jiggling on my phone with some apps that I got, and when I try to edit, they always give me 480p as top for free. If you want 720 or up, you have to pay them. So that's an issue.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right. Oh, okay. I will definitely change that.
Let's move on to the next question. So, talking about your awards that you've won, it's called the awards thing that I see. It's called the Short Film Awards, right?
Short Film Awards. Yes, they were made because nobody was giving short films enough credit as it was. So,
who created that?
Me and my brother did.
Okay, and who runs it?
Well, my brother did. Unfortunately, he's not anymore. I run the voting, but I am not a voter.
Wait, okay, so who votes on these then? That's what I'm getting at. Who's actually voting on this?
Like, we get a lot of fans too that I've talked to some of my fans, and a lot of them are kind of like, it's like a fan vote in a way, where you just, I message them or email them, and then they talk to me, and then I just give them the list of the nominees, and they vote. So, I used to be me and my brother look at all the films. We watch countless short films, and we would say, hey, these films need to be nominated, these films to be nominated, but we wouldn't vote. We would have fans vote.
So do you think that's what's the word for it? Do you think that's kind of deceptive in a way that you are running it in a way, and then you're putting your movie on there yourself to be voted?
Yes, and that's why I don't vote anymore. Because
no, it's not even about you voting. You're putting your own movie on the awards, so it's not really like that's where it's kind of weird, man. Because you basically, in a way, you're giving yourself a chance to win an award, which is very weird.
And he voted for it the first time too.
Yeah.
Yep. I did not vote for myself that first year, but I was voting for myself to be nominated, which you're right. I mean,
So I would say I would suggest maybe having someone else run it if you're going to have your own films in there, because
I think I'm going to try to get, I talked to it recently with a friend. I think I'm going to try to get more people who know films, maybe you guys, or just to do a committee, because I think that would be a lot smarter. And a lot of people are doing really cool stuff with films. Like this year, I don't know if we're doing an award show yet or not. I said we are, but I don't know. COVID's really been hard for people to shoot videos and send them to me like we did last year. We had fans vote, and Coming Out won because I don't know.
Did you film your latest movie in 2020?
Brother, yeah.
Are you wearing
Brother
masks in the movie?
What's up?
And do you wear masks during the filmmaking?
are you going through the necessary actual, like, you do realize you have to have a COVID team on there, right? You have to have a COVID representative. Otherwise,
I have actually, when I made the film, there was only 3 people, including myself, with my cinematographer, who is my cousin, who is learning, who I'm showing him the ropes. He's worn a mask. I've worn a mask when I'm not talking to my actors, and they have worn masks. But besides that, in the small places where, like, say, my apartment or some of the other places, or my friend's apartment, which we'll see in the movie, they have not worn masks during the scenes, but they have in between.
and do you have any representative actually there watching for any COVID-related stuff? Because that's legally you're supposed to at this point.
The film I made before, Fallen Soldiers was made before COVID hit, so I didn't have to worry about that then. With Brother, is basically just apartments mostly, and outside my apartments where I've shot some of it, and at a lake.
So it's a no.
I haven't, in Hastings, Nebraska before. Now it's kind of spiking, but it was doing really, really low and not really worrying about. So we were okay with that, but we still took precautions because, you look at what Batman did. Batman went through COVID. Pattinson even got it. So, it's you have to be careful, especially.
And I would suggest not doing any other shorts until you get, because it's actually legal now. You legally have to have someone on set watching that stuff. So before you do another one, I would suggest you get somebody on that.
This is what I was asking for, because you were saying that you're finally decided you're going to invest some budget in your movies, and you're actually going to release them widely, so they might bring in some revenue. You don't want to get a legal problem because of not complying with the requirements of official filmmaking. Like, if you're just doing it for fun, like, fuck it, I'm just going to do this thing and release it on myself on Vimeo and whatever, then,
that's one thing.
I guess they won't arrest you for it. But if you're actually going to release it, like, formally, got to be careful, man.
Yeah, you got to be careful around these times. I wish I could say I hope COVID is going to be gone shortly, but I really don't think it's going to be gone anytime soon. So,
I think it's going to be a while, so something to consider.
Yeah.
Now,
the situation of the Batman, that whole production is why you got to be careful now, because nobody would have thought we would have problems like this and then constantly having to shut down. And what we are going through as a film community, it's hard to believe that theaters are going to have to shut down. AMC might go bankrupt, and I cannot believe that is actually a thing. So, my message to filmmakers, because Nebraska may not be the worst, but if you're living, say, Pittsburgh, New York, LA, please, what Mike says, I didn't know it was legal, but, please watch yourself. Like,
if you're releasing it widely, I would say get somebody on that. And it costs some money to have somebody like that. So make sure, if you're going to release it widely and you're going to try to get it out there, make sure you have that covered. Speaking of the awards, you got a Lifetime Achievement Award, but you've only been acting professionally for like 6 years. So how did you get that? How did that come across?
Well, we did a Lifetime Achievement Award. We just started the idea of honoring people, and my brother, before he passed, said, well, I'm looking at people who should be mentioned, and I'm just saying, why don't you do it for the first year? There was no voting. He basically, before he passed, he wanted to run this. He basically said, look, as a filmmaker, as somebody who, cares about, making movies as much as you do, can't we just honor you for that? And that was basically, and when he passed, the idea of continuing that and making an achievement was just it was basically an honoring for him. And, if people ask me if there's voting, there's no voting. It was basically
Okay, so you just basically, you and your brother gave it to yourself.
Basically, I just was honoring what he wanted. Yeah.
I would have gone the other way. I think
I do too.
You should have given it to him.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. Because of the contributions that he made to your career.
Yeah. I wish it could have been handled better. I do, because it was just not. And I've commented on before this. This is the first time I've commented on it. I really was not happy with the way it resulted. So, yeah.
Okay. So, talking about crew members and stuff like that, we've had a conversation where it got kind of heated to where I had asked you how many crew members were on your certain movies, and you said you had a bunch, but they wanted to keep them private. The only problem with that I saw at that point, that was a lot.
When was that? Was that a couple years ago?
Yeah, that was a couple years ago. So I wanted to bring that up again.
That was a straight up lie.
Because every single behind the scenes shot you do is it's always just you. So then you can always tell that the camera is basically sitting down somewhere. So usually, for the most part, no one's holding it for the most part. So you can assume that maybe you have 2 to 3 people working on a movie at a time. And
on my set, if it's not if I'm trying to say with my cousin, I'm teaching him the filmmaking aspects because he loves it. He wants to do this. He's 15. I'm teaching him literally. And I'm showing him the right things of how to do it. I don't if he's shaking it, I will say, hey, here, get it. That's why we got film stands. That's why we got stuff like that. I'm still learning myself. But the truth and the honest, absolute truth, if I'm on film set and I'm doing a film, no matter what it is, and I don't know who you are, one of my friends brought a friend one time, and I said, look, I don't know who you are. I'm trying to do this as a work. Can you please leave? And he did. I have maybe 3 to 6 people when I'm making a film, if it's an original short film, and that is the truth, who will either be an actor or a crew member who will help me in between when I'm trying to either act or direct the film.
Well, my whole thing with that, though, is that you never credit them. And that's where I have, where it gets kind of interesting.
I'm going to start doing that. Yeah. Yep, I'm going to start doing that, actually. Yeah, I know. I realize that. I never credit them, and I should.
I have 2 things to say about that, man. 1, be careful with that child labor laws, though, because your cousin is underage. Yeah. So you have to be don't be labeled like an abuser or something. And 2, you have usually credit yourself multiple times, right? Yeah. But in some movies, you do credit other people. For example, we realized that you had credited as a producer, Matt Beer, for 3 or 4 films. However, we interviewed Matt Beard a couple of months ago, and he says he never produced anything with you. So that's confusing because you're saying, for one side, that you weren't crediting people originally, and then the one you credited said he wasn't in there.
Well, Matt Beard at the time, and we did a film I was supposed to star and direct it. It's called Voice of Reason, and I don't know where it's going. I honestly, I don't talk to Matt anymore. Just don't talk anymore, unfortunately. But yeah, he did actually. I don't know why he would say he didn't, because at the time, and I don't know if at the time we were talking, and he told me that he did produce and that he would produce. He said, he told me directly. I don't even know if I saw the messages. I can look that up. He said that he will not produce another film of mine if I do a fan film or whatever. He will not produce it. So he has produced films of mine. He at a time was running, helping me kind of make smart decisions on films I needed to do. So I don't know why he said he never did, because he did. I have messages that prove that. Yeah, he wasn't here on set, but I was texting him things. I was texting him my scripts. I was texting him my films, and he was giving me suggestions to make it better.
That's not a
why I
producer, though.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I
That's not
was.
a producer at all.
Okay.
And
It's a
going to
weird-
film
it's a
school,
weird
man,
thing
you would have
because-
learned what a producer is. That's where I'm confused. When you went to film school, they would have told you what a producer is. And you're saying you had Matt as producer, and it has nothing to do with producing. So what's going on?
Okay. Well, I didn't think of it like that way. I kind of considered him a producer through that kind of aspect, and just helping me with making my films a couple years ago. He does it now. I don't even talk to him anymore. So that's really all I have to say about that. But understandable. I just kind of credited him as a producer because of his just support.
Okay.
I
That
think that's more like an executive producer.
yeah. That can get into
I would say
a
too,
lot
yeah.
of issues, especially with somebody who's literally stated they didn't want any part of some of it, some of the stuff he's been credited on, and then you credit him. Not a good look, man. Especially crediting him wrong. So knowing, especially you going to film school, you should know the terms. You should know which position is which. They teach
Because
you
the
that.
producer basically handles all the problems the director doesn't, right?
You shouldn't be asking us that, man. You should know this. You went to film school. Like, this is where my problem is with it.
The producer is the money man. It's the
Yeah.
one that gets everybody, that gets the casting director, hires the director, hires everybody
Yep.
and gets the money, procures the money to do the movie. That is what the producing aspect is.
But it's
Executive
hard.
producers,
Executive
people just lend you their name so your movie sounds cooler. You know, like Tim Burton in Batman Forever, and then he regrets it for the rest of his life.
Yeah. You know, I mean, I don't really know even a lot of people who've helped me who have even want to do a producing job. I've never worked with a real producer before, so yeah. I mean, I got confused by that too, so I understand what you mean.
Oh,
So
no,
you're
but I mean, no, I get the.
in your older films, you produce it yourself.
Yeah.
You star in it, you write it, you direct it, and you edit it.
Yes, I do edit.
You're like a one-man band, but for short films.
Which is normal for people who are going very low budget. They don't really have any crew.
Yes.
They usually do it themselves. But then I would
Until
state,
they
if you're
can
going to do
until
that,
they can make a feature. Yeah, I mean, look at what Quentin Tarantino did. I mean, he worked with a few people on a few of his short films, and so yeah.
but what I'm saying here with it is that if you're going to go around stating that you're working with a bunch of people, maybe you shouldn't if you're not crediting them or not working with them, because I know you've been called out on it before, and assuming the majority of the time that we've talked, you've bullshitted me on it. So
Before,
like,
yes.
So yeah, I would suggest either crediting them or
yes.
just saying you're just doing it yourself, because there's nothing wrong with doing it yourself. There are so many filmmakers out there that have to do it themselves. They have to do a lot of stuff themselves. It's not a big
to
deal.
make the right step, yeah. And you've made some short films, right, Mike? I don't think I've ever seen one of yours.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
He has,
in the film.
he has one in a film festival right now.
Oh, really? What is that?
Yeah. We're not going to discuss that right now. It's coming out. If you want to see it, it'll be on the 13th.
All right, cool. Well, that's cool, bro. Congrats on that. That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
So, what is the future hold for Christopher Day? What is coming up? Other than canceled Batman projects, because that was actually
the future holds up. I got a movie called Brother coming out on December 11th, which I wanted to make a gritty 70s type movie on a real tragedy. Obviously, December 28th is going to be a day that probably will haunt my mind for the rest of my day, because my brother was murdered in his home in Florida last year. Mike, you and I talked about that really, really heavy for 20 minutes. My brother was supposed to do this with me. This was his dream too. And unfortunately, he won't be able to do that. But my brother was basically the biggest. He introduced me to more cinema, older films, foreign films. That was his thing. When I was younger, I kept telling him that, I want to make movies like Michael Bay. Or Martin Scorsese, and he introduced me to say 8.5, um, the 400 Blows, and all those kind of films. So I owe a lot to him. And when he died, um, the idea of making a film to honor him was something I wanted to do. And I watched a film called, which is one of my favorite movies. And people don't give this film credit that came out almost 10 years ago. It's called Out of the Furnace, directed by Scott Cooper. It's a big cast too, and it's one of my favorite films. And it basically is a story of brotherhood. And I wanted to make a film like that. I wanted to kind of make something based in the 70s. I had a friend of mine, RJ Hines, who just did the poster, which, by the way, I don't know if you guys have seen the poster for Brother. He worked really, really hard on that, kind of making like a Scarface kind of looking thing. It was pretty cool. And I made this film, and I got a lot of crap from my sisters and my family because I was doing this film about a man taking revenge on something which actually happened that didn't happen. And my sisters were very, very concerned, but they were very supportive. You know, I made the film, and it is still the most proud film I've ever done. Every day I was doing this film with different people, and I got to work with Cy, obviously, who I worked on with Coming Out, and my little short film called Alone. He was in the film. He only did about maybe not even a half hour because he had one certain scene in it. And every time that I did that, I had to literally take a minute because it's such a hard, realization that your brother's not coming back, and it hurts. And it hurts, and you're trying to make him proud for you by making this film, which I put so much hard work into, and I'm still am. And this is basically my tribute to him. This is my love to him and how he was my best friend. And unfortunately, he's not here anymore, but I know he's here in spirit. And this is the most proud I've ever been to a film.
Is that the one we got, Mike?
Yeah, that's the link that I just got.
Okay, we want to check it out and get back to you. I did want to question you about something else. I found this thing on Letterboxd the other day when we were researching for this interview.
What's that?
It's a movie. It's a movie that's credited to you, but I've never been able to find it or heard anything about it. Untitled Avi Sachs biopic.
It's not a real movie. Somebody made a fake film saying I'm in it, which I'm not, and somebody made it to make this guy, I guess, look cool because they wanted to make him look like he's Freddie Mercury, apparently, from Bohemian Rhapsody. It's not a real film. They even credit that in the reviews.
They did credit you right there, like Christopher Day.
I don't know why somebody did that. I don't know who did, but I'm not involved in that whatsoever. I've never been talked to about it. I've never, not even once. I even made a post making a joke saying I did when I did it. So, I have no.
But you reviewed it. You gave it 4.5 stars.
Yeah.
Here's what I did, though. I made it look like I did it, which I didn't. See, read the review because it's just basically just saying, hey, it's bullshit and I didn't do it.
Okay,
Weird.
Before we end off, we were talking about release dates with your film Brother coming out, but I wanted to go back to your previous release dates. Why is it that, because now we've come to the conclusion that maybe you take a week total to film something, why do you release it like 8-9 months later?
So kind of like how they do in the movie theaters, it gives me time to hype it up, which I like to.
8-9 months though for a 5-minute short? That's not really. It's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah,
Because you're making this is the thing. It's assuming that you're working on it that entire 8-9 months when you try to credit it like that. I would suggest if you're gonna do something like that, maybe do like a month. Because this, if you have like a feature coming out, that's something. But you have a 5-minute short that you're hyping up for like 8 months, and you're talking that you're working on it throughout the entire 8 months, which we know now is not true.
Nope.
We know, yeah. So I would suggest
that's why I'm here. I try to be more honest, of course.
Yeah. And I appreciate that you've come. We had to catch you in a couple things here, but you've admitted.
Oh yeah. No, I didn't want to talk about the film school thing. It was really embarrassing. So to say that I just it was hard for me, to admit that to people because it's I just when you don't want people to look at you the wrong way, it's kind of just that instinct. And I wish I could have not really lied to many people. So and that's also why what happened a couple of years ago with the fan trivia stuff, and some people and being distant, and now kind of trying to earn that back for people. It's a hard thing to do, but it's still it's not going to stop me from wanting to make movies and wanting to better myself and live my dream that I've had since I was 6 of making films, which I want to do. So if that means basically talking to people and saying, hey, I'm trying to be a better person myself, than lying to people and saying, hey, I got 100 people working on my damn set when I don't, then it has to
And
be.
I gotta bring up one more thing. Because I want to clear something up. The Alpha Productions thing. What is that?
Yes.
Because you
That
call it
is
your studio.
I'm calling it basically like a studio that I run, that I want to, that I want to basically make short films where people are given more opportunities to showcase. That's what I wanted to do. So when I made Jack Cross, the third one, I was working with a friend of mine who wanted to basically help me make the film, write it, do everything like that. And I have gone publicly and said that I am not proud of that film because I didn't, the first cut, I didn't even edit that first cut. He did. And that movie has been so criticized because it is so uneven. It is so, you know, I hate that film so much because it doesn't even have a story really. It's just a basic, bland kind of film. And when I was working with him, I kept telling him I don't like the way this is looking out, and he basically told me to fuck off. So I basically started from scratch and I created Alpha to let people make their pictures, help them kind of show it around to people, whether it is through like the label or not. I want, there's no money in it right now. I'd like it to be someday. Alpha
So it's just a
Productions.
name right now. So it's literally just a
Yeah,
name.
it's just a name.
Okay.
I would like it to be more, I want it to be
Yeah,
more.
no, I get that. Now, the one thing I would suggest with that is that there's already an Alpha Productions. It's not a production
Oh,
company.
really? Is it
Yeah,
really?
so I would either suggest changing the name or maybe doing something else with that because you can get some copyright shit. But other than that,
Hell no, I ain't getting my ass sued for that. No.
Who did the wolf? I like the wolf.
yeah.
I found that picture online.
Okay, so that's copyrighted as
Fair.
well.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, fair.
I mean, because I was gonna say that we also made a shirt about that.
Yeah.
But we use
Oh,
it
did you really?
Yes, we did.
because we react to your movies, man. So we have the react thing with the wolf, and then I don't know, man. Maybe you drew the wolf.
Bro, that's cool, bro. That's
Now
We
really
do
let's
cool.
shit.
end.
We do like to suggest. So yeah, you can get a video store react to Alpha Production shirts, or maybe like it's crashed. Fuck that word. So
Now,
yeah, it's kind of what we like to do.
let's end it off with this question. You've stated that you've had projects greenlighted and stuff. Can we just assume that you're the one greenlighting these projects? Okay.
Yeah.
That's like cleared up. You're the one in charge. You're the one doing it.
I am
All
working
fair.
on a feature. I've been working on my feature film idea for a film for a long time, and I'm still trying to. The idea of getting it made, though, it's going to take a lot of work. And the best advice I could say that Matt Beer has given me is basically start slow, keep making your films, and never quit making it. Like keep going for it. So that's basically doing that. But it's just the thing I hate about making films, especially with a feature film for a lot of independent filmmakers, is it is such a fucking bitch. It's a patience and it's hard to do, and I hate it because you want to make your film now. You want to be made now. And that's a really hard thing for people to do. About I think 99% of people will not make it in Hollywood. It's a rare suggestion of who will make it. So my best advice to people, if you're making shorts or you're making features or whatever, keep working, keep doing what you love. If you don't make it in Hollywood, cool. You can keep still making a movie. I mean, you don't have to be in the Hollywood system to make a film. You can independently make it. It's 2020. A lot of people are getting, shots to make films. Look at the Safdie brothers. They basically started from scratch. So, I mean, just keep working. That's the best advice I have.
And I think the advice to end on here is advice you should give people that you yourself should do is do not lie about the projects you're doing and do not lie about the process you're going through. So that is it, ladies and gentlemen. We have done it.
One more thing. Since
you
it's
got?
COVID times and we should be aware of the dangers of going outside and getting the sickness, go buy yourself a boiler room mask.
Yes.
It's actually pretty awesome. So, with that, now you can say it, Mike. This has been Ranked. What is it? What?
Episode 54, did we say? Or 55? I forgot already. I think it was 54.
One of those. Buy your shit. The link is below. Thanks to Chris Daddy for showing up. He might be a legend one day. Not now, but one day.
One day.
See you next time on the Video Store Reacts.